From LALATE News Headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LA with huge news about your housing crash of 2022, your recession of 2023, your stock market crash of 2022, and your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. In today's recording, we go over the incredible great news as a fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state. I'll go over these incredible fourth stimulus checks, which I have found for you, which the membership of this channel, you, the Purple Power community, have gotten your applications in and gotten those checks. And how, if you just found this channel today, I'm going to show you how to get these incredible checks. A fourth stimulus check in every U.S. state. Stay with me. They're coming up later in this recording. Then we turn back to the stock market crash of 2022, and it continued today as corporate earnings came in from, yes, Dick's department store. And it was a major miss. I'll tell you why the retail sales implosion continues across the board, why the tech implosion caused by Snap's corporate earnings days ago is causing that stock market crash of 2022, and why we're not at the bottom yet. Then we'll turn to that housing market crash of 2022, signaled with that housing data release last night on Evenings LA. I'll have a preview of tonight's Evenings LA as well. There we go over to the recession of 2022, or is it 2023? In my opinion, we'll be going into recession for 2 years, starting next year. The latest details on that front as breaking news from Davos, Switzerland, as the European Central Bank's governor says a half basis point increase for the European Central Bank is not out of question for July. This is breaking news as well. Meantime, why did Nordstrom's report great numbers in its retail sales minutes ago, and yet Dick's department store didn't? All the latest details on that front. Back over to the Build Back Better Act as major developing details overnight impact its resolution. It's brand new. It's happening today. But stay with me, because in this recording, we're going to get some big checks. Become a member. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, get that incredible newsletter Monday through Friday and get those fourth stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Stay with me. I'm going to show you over this big broadcast live on air how to get these incredible checks. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee's brewing. It's Mornings LA, and it starts right now. And good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a beautiful day. It is May 25th, 2022 from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Welcome to another broadcast live on air of Mornings LA. A fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state, and I'm going to show you how to get that fourth stimulus check in today's recording. In your fourth stimulus check update of 2022, we're going to go over that check, how to get it. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, stay with me. It's coming up later in this recording. We're going to go over the stock market crash of 2022, the housing market crash of 2022, and the recession coming next year, and why this impacts your money. But first, we're going to start with the Build Back Better Act. The Build Back Better Act is back negotiating to get a finality, as I had predicted no less than 2 weeks ago. Negotiations started several weeks ago, but last week we learned the negotiators. It's Joe Manchin and Chuck Schumer, the Democratic senator from West Virginia and the Democratic senator from New York. Their negotiations are underway, and tonight on Evenings LA, we're going to go over those incredible checks in the Build Back Better Act that will give you additional checks on top of the four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Here's what's to take away before watching tonight's Evenings LA show. Joe Manchin in 2022 made very clear certain things he does not want in the Build Back Better Act, so they're likely not to survive the negotiations. What are they? The elements in which you're funding money through Medicare, or expanding Medicare, or putting more money to Medicare. All those provisions he want out. They're not going to survive. They are dental, vision, hearing, lowering the eligibility age of Medicare, likely not to survive. The Medicaid gap fix, that would survive. That was done by Warnock and also Joe Manchin. And then the other provision that's likely not to survive, of course, is paid leave. Paid leave was that controversial provision that he said take out. It was originally not in there. Then Nancy Pelosi put it in there in spite of Joe Manchin. It's likely to come out. Other than that, he's never made anything else emphatically clear that he's against. So that's the great news. These are two Democrats that like each other. They say that publicly in the last few days. They want to get this done. They say that publicly in the last few days. And they want you to get those checks because the economic strain in this economy is very pronounced. Now, that is the Build Back Better Act, $15,000 to $80,000 of forced stimulus checks on top of the forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. That is why you can't wait for Build Back Better Act. I got your checks today. Not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now, and they're coming up later in this recording. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. And Step 3, stay with me later in this recording. We're going to show how to get these forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. The breaking news overnight of one item that really impacts Build Back Better Act a lot was a primary Senate race. What was it? It was the primary Republican win last night by Herschel Walker out of Georgia. He is challenging now this fall Raphael Warnock for that Democratic seat. Why, in my opinion, is this breaking news so critical? This mirrors what happened in 2020. If you remember in 2020, we had a runoff election for those two Senate seats out of Georgia to determine the balance of power in the Senate, Ossoff and Warnock. The way they ran those elections in fall of 2020 was the representation. You elect them to the Senate, they'll give you stimulus. And they did. Just not exactly how much they promised, but that was the narrative then. I fully believe this will be the narrative once again. As we go into the fall, it will be Warnock trying to defend his Democratic Senate seat in Georgia against the challenger for the Republican primary, Herschel Walker. And the way that Democrats are going to try to solidify a win and retain that ownership of that seat in Georgia is by getting you stimulus. So I think they're going to sort of parade Warnock as part of the people trying to get you this forced stimulus Build Back Better Act done. This is breaking news across the board. And the latest breaking news as well that came in the stock market crash of 2022 update today is Dick's Department Store corporate earnings. Dick's Department Store, which you know is a sporting goods retailer and had a lot of major sales, a lot of major numbers last year when people were on lockdown and were buying outdoor goods, reported corporate earnings this morning, and it was not good. The retailer's stock was down 14% before the market opened today for May 25th, 2022, but it's falling even more dramatically. Why were these numbers a troubling situation? Again, here we go. Supply chain disruption. Dick's Department Store is now the latest retailer in a bloodbath that continued 2 weeks ago. It started with Amazon, then went to Walmart, then Target. Then this last week, we had Kohl's and also Ross Department Store. Here we go with this one. Now, I'll have more about that in a second, but the surprise of the situation was Express, their shares were up 12%. That's the retailer with fancy clothes. And Nordstrom's, the big win today, up 5% as it reported great numbers on its retail numbers. Toll Brothers was up about 3%, and Urban Outfitters was relatively flat at the opening. Meantime, one thing I want to add in here before I forget, Lyft. Horrible numbers. Lyft reports that it's going to start slowing hiring. It's not going to hire any more people, and that it has big supply chain disruption. Its stock is down 17% this week after it was down 60% this year. Ouch. And this is the same situation for Uber. Why is the stock market crash of 2022 becoming so pronounced in the retail space? In the case of Dick's Department Store, let me tell you why. This is breaking news just minutes ago. On the revenue side, it was a beat. Dick's reported more revenue than expected, than Wall Street expected. But on the net line, the net income, it was a miss. It did increase year to date, but it was a shorter increase than expected. Why is this happening with Dick's? Why is this happening with Ross and Target? Let me tell you why. The supply chain disruption way that we've learned this week from the retail space is hideously complex. And what it basically involves is the products are arriving, they're just arriving very late. In the case of Ross department stores, in the case of Walmart, in the case of Dick's, what do we learn? They had merchandise. The merchandise is out of control. They have too much merchandise. And what happened? Merchandise came late. And this is why it's hurting the retail space. The supply chain disruption caused the merchandise to come late. So winter products came now when it's warmer, and people don't want them when it's warmer. They're out of season. Number two, they betted some of the retailers on people who were going to be on lockdown longer, and that was a bad bet, meaning people do not have time to continue to go surfing in their lobster shorts. They're back at work. So the lobster shorts are sitting on the shelves. They're not selling. I think they weren't selling before the pandemic. But, it's just they have too much inventory, and the inventory did not move. Now, why did Nordstrom do well? This is interesting. The reason why Nordstrom did well, because more people went back into work and had to have that snazzy suit or that snazzy pants jacket outfit for the women. And that's where they went to buy at Nordstrom. They went to get their back to work outfit in line at Nordstrom. And that's why their sales were up. That's why Dick's department store, Dick's Sporting Goods, they were not going out and getting that outdoor camping equipment as much as they were during the pandemic. The proliferation of the stock market crash of 2022 continues today as we had that massive implosion from Snap. Not the food, the tech stock, the social community out of here in Southern California, originally Santa Monica, now in Venice. They took a plummeting earlier this week, down 40%, but they're still down today. They brought down Facebook and Twitter and all the social media stocks. This is where the Thank You Next debuted yesterday on this channel is really hitting home. Thank You Next, borrowing from Ariana Grande, is my new expression on this channel, where analysts tell you something and it's just ridiculous. It's just wrong, but really wrong. And it started 2 weeks ago where one analyst said to us, the tech bleeding of the stock market crash of 2020 is over. 2022 is over. That was before Snap reported corporate earnings, and the tech bleeding is still happening. Thank you. Next. Well, what is also another thank you next is when Jay Powell's FOMC notes will be released tonight on Evenings LA. They haven't come out, but we have a big surprise. Here you go. This is breaking news as well. It comes from the European Central Bank member. His name is Klaas Knot. Fancy Klaas Knot. His name is Klaas Knot. And Klaas Knot appeared in Davos, Switzerland for that glitzy European Economic Conference and was asked about the French governor, the Bank of France's governor of the ECB, who said earlier this week on Tuesday that rate hikes from the ECB in July and September were not likely to happen. What's going on here? In the United States, your Federal Reserve chair is Jay Powell, your Temple of Doom 2022. He's the guy who determines with his Fed governors if we have rate hikes in the United States. Overseas, in Europe, the ECB, the European Central Bank, is the equivalent. And it has governors just like we have governors here. Well, they're all at this fancy conference in Davos, Switzerland. And on Tuesday, the French governor said, no, we're not having any interest rate spikes in July or September at all. That was Tuesday. Well, minutes ago, this is breaking news, the the ECB member, Klaas Knot, was asked, will there be rate hikes in July and September? As we are told, they're not going to happen. He said, that's not off the table. Knot made it very clear. The rate hikes of July and September are not off the table, according to Knot, meaning that they could still be happening. When asked about the question, Knot said not. No, as far as I am concerned, and not, this is actually the quote, not, and the way I read it, it's clearly not off the table. So not. I can't make this stuff up. That's the wonders of Davos, Switzerland. When asked what will be the interest rate spikes for July when they meet in just a few weeks, Knot would refuse not to roll out a 50 basis point hike. That's actually a direct quote. So there you go. What does this mean for you back here in the States and your money? What it means back in the United States is that when we're talking about Jay Powell and that Federal Reserve, there was a fascinating quote that came out yesterday, and boy, is it a biggie. The big quote was that If the Federal Reserve does not solve inflation, then the stock market crash of 2022 will. And that came from billionaire hedge fund manager Bill Ackman, who basically says that if Jay Powell does not wipe away and get rid of this inflation, a stock market crash of 2022 will. Boy, now let's make this very clear. What you see currently in the stock market is not the crash of 2022. The stock market is down 21%, and that is not the full extent of the crash as I'm predicting. Why? We have Emmanuel. We have our analyst Emmanuel Agualo, if I'm saying it right, who gave us that analysis 2 days ago that said in a bear market, we're down 21%. We're down there currently. But in a recession with a bear market, we're down 47.9%. So we're only halfway down in the stock market crash. We have a long way to go. In the case of Snap, we're already down 40% in this week. In the case of Uber and Lyft, we're down 60% year to date. So we have a long way to go. Can we go down from an Uber stock that's down, a Lyft that's down 60%? Absolutely. Cut that in half, and that's where we're going. Yeah, it feels really low. It's really getting low. A lot of analysts were trying to tell you we're at the dip. We are not at the dip. We are in a full slide, and we're going down dramatically. That is stock market crash of 2022. We still have another 20+% to go down because we're going to recession for 2 years. Now, here is the breaking news on that recessionary environment. Back in February, I was the only broadcaster who said, we're going to recession for 2 years, starting in January 2023. Yeah, I do not call it the recession of 2022 on this channel. I call it the recession of 2023 and 2024. But millions of Americans who watch a financial channel were polled last week. Now, these are people who watch financial news on a regular basis. Are we going to recession? They said yes, and they said later this year. This is a change in consumer confidence. There's a major change in consumer confidence if people think we're going to recession later this year, not even next year. Now, what about the housing market crash of 2022? Well, we had that breaking details last night on Evenings LALATE. Here again is what happened if you missed last night's show in prime time. Last night's show in prime time, we had breaking news on the housing sales data. This is real-time data. This is not data that's delayed 90 days out. This is not data that waits to see when the homes close escrow in 90 days and is delayed really 3 months of data. This was live data. The data showed the housing market's not doing well. The housing market's not doing well. And this is after all those bad months this year. 4 consecutive months down. And this follows, here we go again, the fluidity of the thank you next of the builders. The home builders all this week were making ridiculous comments saying the demand is still there. They're just not buying at this price point. Thank you next. That's ridiculous. If they're not buying at the price point, they're not a buyer. That's not demand. They're saying, oh, why is it so expensive? It's so expensive because supply chain disruption. We cannot price the home sales at the original price point because we're spending too much money on lumber and labor. Yeah, thank you next. There's no demand at those price points. That means it's not a seller or a buyer. That means the sales are going down. The housing market crash of 2022, in my opinion, is already underway. In my opinion, since February, housing is already in recession. Auto is already in recession. The housing market crash of 2022 has already started. But later in this recording, we're going to go over more about this and why I believe this is the bubble you don't want to see. The student loan debt forgiveness is really exciting. There could be more student loan debt forgiven as early as later this week or next week. The comments come from a major analyst who knows what's going on, and that analyst says that the White House is meeting with advocates for student loan debt forgiveness this week. His name is Mark Kronowski, and he's a higher education expert, and he says that Biden's meeting this week with policymakers who have been advocating for student loan debt forgiveness. An announcement is imminent. These could be additional sums of money for you. Tonight on Evenings LA, I'll be going over this extensively. So if you're a federal student loan borrower, do not miss that show tonight. What has the president done so far, and what is he likely to do? He's likely to forgive $10,000, is my opinion. He forgave student loan debts for individuals who became disabled, went to work in the nonprofit or public sector, or whose debts were procured by fraud by the university against them. $50,000 is out. He's not going to do it. He already made that clear. $10,000 is on the table. Meantime, Big surprise and news about that sixth stimulus. I'll have that in a second. But where are we right now? The great news is you, me, and this community. A fourth stimulus check is now in every U.S. state. And how did it land there? Where did it come from? How did this happen? It's the true testament to you, me, and this community. This channel launched on April 25th, 2020, as millions of Americans were going on a lockdown. Fear that they're going to lose their businesses, fear that they're going to lose their job. In many cases, they did. And what do they need? They needed help with the EIDL grant. They needed that EIDL loan, that PPP, that FPUC, that PUA, and that LWA. And that's what this channel started with, helping millions of Americans figure out how to get this big sums of money. It required an effort for them to get the money and required me to explain how to get it. And that's what you did at the time. Big checks, $150,000 of checks, checks to save your home, your business, and more. When December 2020 came around and we had seen the negotiations of the second stimulus not get done, then you said to me, LATE, I need money. It's the holidays. Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin do not have this done. Can you give me money? And I found it. It was really hard. It was the middle of the pandemic. And we got some rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, more. The great item at the time was a preview document I got exclusively of what I coined the expression for third stimulus. It was to become the third stimulus bill and eventually the law that repeated this money for rent and utilities and mortgage assistance, what I call purple. Purple eventually became third stimulus, and now on this channel, it's Check C. And this is how we got up to the present, because in March of this year, just a few weeks ago, viewers said to me, LA, that Build Back Better Act hasn't happened. Can you get me some fourth stimulus checks? And I looked high and low, and I found it. Needle and haystack? Yes. Anywhere else covered in broadcast media? No, absolutely not. This is not going to be covered in print media, broadcast media, other YouTube channels. They're not going to cover it because they don't have the care of looking and finding this money. They're not emotionally invested in your financial stability like I am. And my focus on making sure you're financially independent, financially stable, starts by finding these checks. Hours of research go into finding these checks. And where did they come from? Did they come from Congress? No, they did not come from Congress. So who do they come from? They came from the President of the United States. They came by executive order. And in the second half of this video, we're going to go over these four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. We're going to go over how to get them. Step one is to subscribe. Step two is to become a member during the commercial break. And after the commercial break, we're going to go over these four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. Then I'll give you a preview of what's happening tonight on Evenings LATE. We'll be talking about six stimulus, major developing details on that front. And we'll also be talking about where this economy is going. Recession 2023, housing market crash of 2022, stock market crash of 2022. Those details and more, and why they impact your stimulus, all coming up in the second half of this video, plus those big four stimulus checks. Get ready to get some checks right after the commercial break. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds, but first, here's a little bit about the members community page as Mornings LATE live on air continues. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m.
Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE.
And the excitement continues live on air for May 25th, 2022 from the shores of Santa Monica, California. Good morning. Hope you're having a beautiful day. And I see the discussions of the live chat about the banana bread. It's deliciousness. The toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and the coffee is brewing. And in the second half, we're going to go over those four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. A fourth stimulus check has landed in every U.S. state. It's taken an effort for me to find it for you, but I found it. And step one is for you to subscribe. Step two, become a member. And step three, get those big checks. How do you get them? Let's go over them starting right now. These four stimulus checks, what are they? Number one, they came out via executive order from Joseph Biden. Number two, you're not going to see them covered anywhere else. Print media, cable news, other YouTube channels, not going to be covered. I found these like a needle in a haystack. A lot of hours of research in finding these checks. Then what I do is I take the checks, organize them in a simple fashioned way so that you can follow along. And then I put them in a membership newsletter so you can go in and apply. I label them with a lettering system. Check A, B, and C. And here we go. Who gets them? Who can qualify for them? You can. Single individual, 75,000 or less, go get it. Married couple, 150,000 or less, go get it. If you have children, if you don't have children. If you're young, if you're old. If you're on benefits, if you're not on benefits. If you rent, you own. These are for you. Congratulations. Let's go get some four stimulus checks. These are big checks, and they aren't a few $100s. They're monster checks. The first check is Check A. It is $6,500 to $12,000 four stimulus check. Yes, you heard me right. $6,500 to $12,000. It's a four stimulus check in every U.S. state. It is for individuals, 75,000 or less. Go get it. Married couple, 150,000 or less. Go get it. It's called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. How do you get it? Step one, subscribe to this channel. Step two, become a member. And the membership link's under the video or at the top of the chat. Join where it says join this channel right now. Purple Power, Calcino VIP, Purple Hawk, whichever one you wish. And then get that newsletter Monday through Friday. Go down that newsletter to Check A, gives you a description about it, gives you the link, and you go in and apply. How simple is that? Congratulations to the incredible viewers who have gotten checks from A, B, C, and more from this channel this week. We've had a lot of people get check B in the last few days. If you have a success story, send it to me on private message on Facebook or Instagram, and I will feature them live on air. Now, you're not going to stop there. You're going to go get a check B. Wow, look at that. $15,000 to $80,000. It's a four stimulus check in every U.S. state. It is called the Homeowners Grant. It's for single individuals, 75,000 or less, a married couple, 150,000 or less, and if you're on benefits. Look at that check. This is a monster payout. I do not play around with puny little $200 checks that land in mailboxes. I go for big checks for you so you are financially independent for months at a time. These checks are averaging $66,000 to $80,000. Go get it. How do you get it? Step one, subscribe. Step two, become a member. Step three, go into that membership newsletter down to Check B. And there at Check B, you find it. There it is. And you click the link and you apply. So simple, as Carol says, longtime viewer. She says, Ella, you make it so simple. You take these checks, you find them, you search them out, you deliver them to the viewers, you organize them in a newsletter, you send them to the viewer, to the member. All they have to do is just click and apply. It's so simple. It really is. Now, you're not done there yet. No, you're not. You're going to go get Check C as well. Check C is for my renters. Yes, renters and also homeowners. It is an MSC. It tracks at about $2,000 over 12 months currently. Oh, baby. But many viewers have gotten a lot more than this. This is a lot of money. How do you get Check C? Step one, subscribe. Step two, become a member. Step three, go into that membership newsletter and go down to Check C. In the case of Check C, you're not applying online, so it's not going to be an online application in the newsletter. It's going to tell you where to call. You're calling and getting checks. And when you do this, you are going to be very, very happy. This is the continuation of something that debuted on this channel in December 2020, featured earlier in this video. Yes, this was originally the money that was available in December 2020, Then at that time, I called it purple money on this channel. Then it became third stimulus. I called it third stimulus. Now I call it check C. This is what people have gone for the rent, 20 to 30,000. Then the money for the utilities. Wow. Huge. Mark's brother-in-law got 15,000. For Snap, his brother-in-law got $25,000 a year from this channel. He's going to get $250,000 from this channel over the next 10 years. Here's Nisi and Mark. Look at them. They got multiple items for check C. Mark 32, Nisi 23, but Nisi keeps on going back and getting more money, 8,000 at a time, so she is over 30,000. Mark, he was at 32. Well, watch his number move. Mark went from 32 to 50, then 100, then 166 because he got check B. Lorraine, she was at 105, now she's at 120. I think she was in the live chat the other day, said she had another success story. If you're watching, Lorraine, send me your success story on Facebook or Instagram private message, and I'll feature it live on air. And anyone else that had a success story, send it to me as well. This is check C. And again, how do you get that check C? How do you get A, B as well? You first subscribe, then go into the membership newsletter and go get these big checks. Let's recap. It's done so simply for you in this channel. Step 1, subscribe. Go to the front of the channel, hit that subscribe button right now. Step 2, become a member. There's a link under the video where it says join here. Hit that join. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Step 3, there's a little bell at the front of the channel. Hit that bell and make sure it's set to all notifications. That way you get the notification when the membership newsletter comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That notification from YouTube is delivered to your notification device. If it's by email, then it says new LALATE post at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And then you open it, you go down, and it says in there, click here to go open the post. You open the post, and there you go. That is the membership newsletter. Now, if you've had difficulty or confusion opening the newsletter or finding the newsletter, send me a private message on Facebook, and I'm here to help you. It's at facebook.com/LALATE news. Yes, LALATE plus the news at the end. And I will send you a video made on this channel, made on YouTube, that explains the newsletter in totality. People say the video is very, very helpful and makes it all so simple. And of course, if you have that story, send it to me on private message as well. Well, here we go. The President of the United States, that student loan debt forgiveness, are likely to heat up as the Build Back Better Act heating up at the same time. But one other item also heating up, of course, is the big surprise of 6 stimulus. 6 stimulus is that item that involves buffering the impact of Vladimir Putin on this economy. And the European Union now believes that they could have a deal on banning Russian oil within days. Oh, this is taking a long time. The European Commissioner's President Ursula von der Leyen says that the deal could be coming within days to ban Russian oil. Why did it take a while? Because they had to get a waiver for Hungary, Slovakia, and Czech Republic that could not do this deal because they're too dependent on the Russian oil. So they are likely now excluded from the situation across the board. Let's go then to where this economy is going and why it impacts your wallet so significantly. And also I'll preview tonight's evening's LALATE in prime time at 5 o'clock. First, stock market crash in 2022. Done? No, it's just starting. It is just starting. The stock market may be down 20% overall, or in the case of some stocks like Target, Snap, and even others today, down 40%. It's just starting. The whole stock market will go into bear and recessionary territory. It's only in bear territory right now. 25%, nope. It's going down 40%. That's going to take a while, 2 years of it. So the stock market crash of 2022 is just starting, and anyone tells you we're at the bottom, you know what you say to them. Thank you. Next. Housing market crash of 2022. This is the one that I think is going to be bubble-ish. I think this is going to be like a bubble because there's a lot of crazy comments out there. The crazy comments are coming from the home builders and they're coming from the realtors. The home builders saying, we have demand, but no one's buying. That's just not demand. Why do you call that demand? If they're not buying, they're just looking. That's not demand. Demand means someone who bought the home. Why are they not buying the home? Because the material costs have gone up on the home builders and they're raising the prices. And then the buyer comes and says, I'm not buying. This is too expensive. You price me out of the market. That's not demand, home builders, and yet they keep on referring that as demand. People looking at the home. No, no, buying the home is demand. That's bubble. That is pure bubble-like talk, where people talk about pure nonsense and don't have revenue or profits to show for it. There's someone looking at the house. Did you sell it? No. Well, that's not a sale. That doesn't count. That is bubble talk. Now, let's go over to the realtors. Oh, this is the worst one. The realtors keep on saying that the mortgage rates growing from 3% to 5% doesn't impact anyone's wallet. If it didn't impact anyone's wallet, then why don't we have like 50% mortgage rates? It's just ridiculous. But that's not only the start of the thank you next on the realtors. The realtors say that doesn't matter because the home buyers are paying all cash. Come on here. When people pay all cash for real estate, that does not mean they had the cash sitting around for the last 2 years in the bank. It means they sold something else to come up with the cash to buy the home. So what would they normally sell? They'd sell their stocks, they sell their bonds, they sell their crypto. Well, guess what? You ain't going to go buy a home with all cash if you got to sell your Snap stocks that are down 40%. If you're going to have to sell your Target shares that are down 40%, you're not going to sell it if it's down 40%. And if you're not going to sell it, you're not going to buy that home. That's how all cash buying makes no sense. In a stock market crash of 2022, that means that you're not going to make the home purchase because you're not going to free up money to get the cash to buy the home. That is complete thank you next craziness for the realtors in referring to the housing market. Bubble-like environment, absolutely. Now let's turn to you and stimulus. This is why it's so important for you, as this tough love environment is right now, to get these checks when I say they're available. Why? Because it is going to be what I call on this channel a stimulus stampede in 90 days from now. In 90 days from now, the recessionary pressures of 2023 will start to be felt a little bit. The recession is out to sea like a storm, and the wind is picking up on land, but you're not feeling it just yet. No, you're feeling the inflationary pressures. You're feeling the inflation. The inflation you're feeling right now is nothing like the recession you're going to feel. The recession is going to hit you like a brick, whereas the inflation may be poking you like a little stick at the moment. The recessionary pressures, when they start to blow on land in 3 months from now, in 90 days, guess what's going to happen? Stimulus stampede. People will be coming around and asking for a forced stimulus check from this channel. And the great news among you watching now from May 25th, 2022 is you are getting the checks now. So you don't have to worry about these checks running out. You're not sitting around twiddling your thumbs. You're becoming a member right today, getting these checks, getting as many of these checks, going back like Nisi does and Mark and Lorraine and getting more checks on a regular weekly basis because you understand the situation for this U.S. economy in 90 days from now is going to be very, very different than it is right now. It's going to start to become severe. And what's going to happen when that stimulus stampede happens is that a lot of people who have not watched things like this in recent months are going to come around asking for something based upon what happened 2 years ago. They're going to get laid off from their department store job, and then they're going to say, do you have some FPUC at $600 a week on top of my UI? The response is, no, I don't have it. It doesn't exist anymore. They got rid of FPUC last year. Small business owners who are feeling the pinch of the supply chain disruption are going to say, I'm having problems making my rent on my small business. Do you have some EIDL grants? No. Do you have some EIDL loans? No. Do you have some LWAs? No. Do you have PPP? No, I have none of these things. These things don't exist anymore. What do you have? I have checks for you. You need to go get these checks right now. It is not a stimulus pickers market where you can sort of say, yeah, I know there's a forced stimulus check in every state. I want to wait till another type of check comes. No, it's not a stimulus pickers market where you can wait around and hope that another check that you like more to your liking comes on the horizon. One viewer in the live chat during the commercial break says, I heard something about the vote on the Build Back Better Act. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself, because you're basically saying in that type of talk, there's a forced stimulus check in every state. Yeah, but I want to wait for Build Back Better Act. No, no, don't wait that way. There's too much at stake when you're talking about Congress. Yeah, we have the economy. Yes, we have the midterm elections. Yes, we have everything that's gauging the midterm elections, which is, you know, maybe don't send a check out in March. Maybe send it out closer to the election. Yeah, there's all that strange nuance we never know with these people. That is why you have to get the 4 stimulus checks available in every U.S. state. The effort that I find on this channel, the effort that I put in to find these checks for you is based upon your demand and your need. And when you say I needed checks back in March, I look high and low to find them for you. Now they're here. Go and get them and ready to pounce. And guess what? I have a surprise for you. Yes, there's additional checks as well. A Check D has landed in about 24 U.S. states as well. What is Check D? Thank you for staying to the very end of this video, and here you go. Check D is the residue of third stimulus, and states have extra money left over, and they're using or losing. No, they ain't going to lose it. They're going to use it. And many states, over 24, growing day in, day out, are doing a 4 stimulus check with that leftover third stimulus money. The average is about $2,000. What is your state doing? How's it doing it? It's all in the membership newsletter. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, get that newsletter Monday through Friday, and then go in there and apply. As we go into a big Memorial Day weekend, what is important for you to know? You can't wait. The government agencies, of course, will be closed on Monday. So you don't want to wait to become a member and apply with the government agencies because they're going to be closed on Monday. You want to hit that membership link right now, get that membership signed up, get that newsletter Monday through Friday, and get that 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. The situation for the rest of this economy, very fluid across the board, but my prediction, housing market crash of 2022 has already started in pure bubble-like environment. Bubble-like meaning that it's just crazy comments are coming out from the home builders and the realtors, which signals people are going to get hurt. People are going to get hurt because this is real nonsense we are talking. Stock market crash of 2022, this is different, totally different. It's like an organized, thoughtful, well-prepared crash. It's going down slowly and progressively, even though stocks are sometimes falling 40% in one day, as we understand why it's happening. And the analytics of the crash for the stocks is very, very intuitive. It's not, it's very discerned and very laid out. And there you go. At the Federal Reserve, what they're going to do is they're going to come in and hit this with a hammer when they should not. And I'll have more about the Federal Reserve tonight on Evenings LA because the Federal Reserve's FOMC meetings notes will be released in the next 2 hours. We've not had comments from Jay Powell in the last few days, but guess what? We already have a sense of what he's going to say. Half basis point for July and half basis point thereafter. All the latest details on that tonight on Evenings LA in prime time. But stay with this video. Right after this video, it'll automatically take you to noontime. In noontime, we go over routing times for 4 stimulus checks. When you go and bounce and get them, how quickly can you receive them? That's at 11 o'clock. It's coming up in just 1 hour. This video will automatically take you there. Step 1, subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Step 3, get that newsletter. And step 4, go get those checks. The toast was toasting, the butter was buttering, the coffee was brewing, the banana bread was talk of the town in the live chat as well. From the shores of Santa Monica, California, God bless. Thank you for joining me on another live broadcast, and I'll see you at noontime coming up next as LA continues throughout the day.